King with the super chat says, he said, Ish said that Magic 3 is trash. Address that fool. Well, what we can address is in the poll right now, we ask which is the better album, Killer Mike's Michael or Magic 3. And you guys got Magic 3 winning 82% to 18%. I know Killer Mike went out recently and did a post basically saying that he has album of the year. What do you think about the notion that Killer Mike's Michael album is album of the year?
I still think it's a viable contender. Um, it's not the album of the year, however.
Yeah,
I would still give Magic 3 the edge.
I think so too. If we're talking about in the end
Like, how about
lyricism.
this? Like,
Go
it's the
ahead.
story, Mike. It's just the storytelling ability. It's
Yeah.
one of those things. It's a deal sealer. Like the way the man tells stories, he's just, it's just storytelling for me. Like this is a writer's craft, okay? Even if you're writing this shit in your head, you're writing. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Right.
can do both. Mike, the expression of a story is the master class in writing, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It's the one that really expresses the talent above all the other ones. Like all these dudes know how to use words, you know what I mean, at an extremely high level in the formation of the words and the syncopation of the words. You know what I mean? They all
Right.
understand, even they probably some of them, even if they don't consciously understand it, subconsciously understand assonance, dissonance, stanza. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's a gift. But the storytelling, Mike, it's a separating point for me. And when this dude tells stories, it's just like he's somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, he's otherworldly when he does that. I mean, I think
And
that
there's enough storytelling on here that even if I felt like it was comparable, it's like I'm always going to I've always said this. I'm going to give the edge to the writer.
mm, no, that's fair.
The craft of emceeing is a writer's craft. And so it's like as much as your shit may bang in the club or do like whatever it is that it may do, still a writer's craft. Even
Um
if you mumbling this shit, write your mumble down.
you gotta write your mumbles down.
You should be jotting
Uh,
his mumbles down. I'm
this
sure he
must have
freestyle
been.
some mumble. I'm sure he freestyle some mumbles, Mike.
I'm
I'm
sure
pretty
he
certain
he
there's some
he said
conjunctive
that.
words
He
with the
said that.
mumble.
He said that in interviews. This must be the position that the NBA was in when Michael Jordan just continuously was doing what he needed to do to get MVP after MVP after MVP, and Karl Malone, who deserved it, got one during that time period.
He got
Um,
two, and he didn't deserve one of those.
yeah,
He got
or
MVP. He got MVP the year Scotty got hurt, and Mike carried that team. Scotty missed like 37, 47 games or some shit, and they still went to the finals and beat the Jazz. It's like, nah, Carmelo didn't deserve that MVP.
or the year that Derrick Rose got the MVP over LeBron.
No,
It's
no,
like
Derrick Rose deserved that MVP over LeBron.
okay. Well, I think this is the position, at least I feel like I'm in. It's like Nas is consistently, you know, I mean, these albums, in my opinion, have progressed in a certain. I mean, you could argue that they have ascended each time. And if he got album of the year consideration for KD2, and then Magic comes along, and then KD3 comes along, and then now Magic 2 and 3 come along, it's hard for him not to really get album of the year, but I also don't want to feel like, oh, whatever he drops, he's getting album of the year for. It's it's that conundrum, but again, that's not his fault that they keep
I'm about
hitting
to say,
niggas with
it's not
work.
his fault that he's out here getting 32, 8, and 8.
It's not.
It's
And
not.
nobody else is matching it. That's the other
Right.
part. And I don't want to feel
That's the
like,
part, Mike.
yeah,
Hold on. Like, this is what I mean about the storytelling. Like, no, like, based on true events, part 1 and 2,
yeah,
I love this feeling. Speechless part 2. It's like, no, those are separation moments.
yeah, it's better than the
It's like,
Michael
no,
album.
you averaged 25. I averaged 32.
Yeah, you had a really great season,
This is
but
great. Good job.
and then he dropped
25,
two
look,
albums.
25, look, 25, 7, and 4 will get you into the Hall of Fame. 32, 8, and 8 is GOAT talk.
Ahmad with the super chat says, "Peace, happy born day, Coop. May you have many more." I got sports questions. Coop, who do you think is the better opponent for the Braves? The Marlins, or the Phillies?
I personally would like to extract revenge on the Phillies. Bring us Philly.
Boom.
I want Philly.
CJ Kid with the super chat says B Dot and Three Letter Man said Nas storytelling isn't as great as it once was. I was baffled when I heard it. They are entitled to their opinion. That again, his storytelling isn't what it once was. I don't understand what that means. I mean, you're comparing the storytelling of the greatest storyteller in hip hop history to what he's doing now, which is probably still leagues ahead of everybody else who's telling
This is what
stories
I
on the
mean.
mic.
So okay, so Mike, this is
The
what I'm
fuck are
talking
we
about.
talking about?
So no, this isn't the guy that averaged what was it, 37 points in one season without barely taking a 3-point shot,
Right.
and then he followed that up with a 35-point season
Insane.
where I believe he won made all first team defense that year and won his first MVP. And then he followed that up with a 33 8-8 season. Well, that would be Nas's peak as a storyteller, Mike.
Right.
But the guy that won titles like later averaged about 30, 6, 6. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this
It's
is
like,
the
so what
thing,
the fuck
Coop.
are you like? That's what I'm saying. It's like if the best that you can do is compare him to like the 87, 88, 89 Michael Jordan version himself and be like, well, that's the same shit we was doing in Mike in 95 and 96 and that, it's like,
Yeah.
well, he can't jump out the building like he used to do. He's like, he's still busting niggas' ass. He's still better than everybody else.
Exactly.
So if somebody better would come along, we would not be having this discussion.
Facts. And making better projects than this individual, we wouldn't be having this discussion. This is the other thing, bro. When they start comparing you to yourself, you know you won. Compare his storytelling to somebody else. Then go out here and justifiably say B Dot, because I know you listen to the show. Go out there and say that Nas storytelling doesn't compare to the storytelling that Kendrick's doing right now. Let's have that argument then. Other than comparing his storytelling to the nigga who made Rewind, and you know what I'm saying?
That's
And,
what I mean.
Like, are you fucking serious?
It's like, are you serious? It's like, oh, you pulling up 69-point games.
Yeah. I was like, well, Kobe doesn't score like he did in that season where he hit 80.
Look, Mike,
70.
He can't go get you. Look, Mike, he can't go get you 50, 10, and 8 anymore. It's like, oh, so sorry. Like, what the fuck?
That's like sitting here coming down on Shaq when he won a championship with the Heat. Talking about, well, he ain't the Shaq from 2000. Nobody's the Shaq from 2000.
Mike, you understand? People need to understand. In that finals, he averaged 23 points and 10 rebounds. They're like, oh, he's okay. It's like, those are Hall of Fame numbers. Those numbers will walk you into the Hall of Fame.
Straight up. Mad Max in the super chat says, I don't have Michael as the album of the year, but the storytelling is not on Magic 3. He said that Mama song, that song about the chick, was good storytelling. Nas Magic 3 was around that level. I guess none of them are album of the year, though. I think it sounds like y'all don't want to give it album of the year because we've been continuously giving this same collective album of the year. That's what it sounds like. Mad Max with another super chat says, he gave the same, super chat twice, I believe. We got another one from Leroy Green. Shout out to Leroy. He says, yes, Coop, storytelling is a mastercraft, excuse me. But why are the stories on Magic 3 great? Honest question. Magic 3 is good, but great? Why?
I broke this down when we did the review, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It's the details and the intricacies with which he writes. He literally, like Mike, you can see it when he says it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like he literally paints the picture for you. Like, and these pictures are in detail. It's like, how about this, Mike? Death Row East, that's not a story that's told in detail. The stories on here are detail oriented. That's the part of it that makes it was written like, is the detail orientation of the writing.
I agree with that. Jay Short with the super chat says, I don't understand how Freddie Gibbs and Killer Mike give so-called fans exactly what they want, and the people still want to nitpick. The consistent hate for those two is baffling. Um, I don't know, man. I think that when it comes to Killer Mike, and I'm a fan of Killer Mike, his music, but I think that a lot of people know him more for other things outside of his music, and I don't think people go to him for his music, if that makes any sense. Freddie, I think Freddie has his fan base, and I think that Freddie satisfies that fan base. But to correlate those two guys, I would have to be able to identify the actual Killer Mike music fan, if that makes any sense. Because a lot of people are fans of Killer Mike and who he is and what he represents, but probably couldn't tell you a lot of his music. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, I'll tell you this. I got a lot of love for Killer Mike, but I'm more of a Freddie Gibbs fan if we're just talking musically.
If we're talking music, yeah. Straight up.
I can tell you Gibbs' songs and albums because I've listened to them and enjoyed them thoroughly. I like them.
Yeah.
Find them to be stellar projects.
TJ Kid with the super chat says, 50-year-old artists getting all the attention. Niggas need to step their game up. They do.
Mike, that's been something that it's like we can't say or state enough. It's like, why y'all talk about this so much? I talk about that so much. Tell them to do better.
Are we supposed to, because Nas is 50, are we supposed to ignore the work that him and Hit Boy are putting together because they're not supposed to be the guys that are on top of their game? I mean,
when did here's how I know hip hop is 50. There's some legit ageism going on with people getting on us for covering a 50-year-old rapper who's out rapping everybody else instead of getting on the niggas for not out rapping him.
Exactly.
What the hell we doing? Do you think, I've said this, it's like part of why this run has been exciting for me is because, to be honest with you, Mike, I've listened to so much of his material from his quote-unquote original first couple of primes so much. By the time he started doing these Kings Disease series, Mike, I wasn't playing Nas's music like that. I play the records that I want to hear when I want to hear him. Take It in Blood.
Yeah.
The Setup. The World Is Yours. Do Rags. Like, I play my shit, but it's like, no, this is giving me a reason to be invigorated, not because it's him, because of the quality of music he's making. And it's clear to me at 47 to 50, he sounds better than the 20-year-olds, almost all the 30-year-olds, and definitely most of the 40-year-olds.
Thumbs up in the chat. And you know what? And I know that, whatever people think about, somebody like a DJ Academic, but he said, and this is past his generation, he said Nas is the GOAT. He was like, Nas continues to push the game forward. He said he challenged the game even with the hip hop is dead thing. And then he went out there and is outworking people who are supposed to be in their primes, basically. He called out Cole and Kendrick. He said Cole may let Nas down. How is this man outworking you at this point from an album perspective?
These are all valid assertions.
It's all valid assertions. Regardless of what people think about the individual, the fact that Nas is not only, and he also mentioned Nas being an ambassador for Hip Hop 50, Nas is not only continuously pushing the game further with his statements, but he's actually doing the work on top of that and outworking everybody. And we're supposed to ignore that?
But that's one of the things. Do you remember when we reviewed Magic, Mike? That's one of the things that I was saying. I was like, he's changing right now in front of our very eyes the perspective at which we are looking at things, because it's not supposed to be happening. Because guess what? It's never happened in hip hop before.
Ever.
Nobody's ever sounded this great, this consistently, this late, verse to verse, song to song, album to album. And so it does make you look at everybody else like, well, what the hell are you doing?
When we were growing up,
what you doing?
KRS-One's return of the Boom Bap just celebrated 30 years, right? When we were growing up, we looked at, or at least I did, this is 93.
He was old.
We looked at KRS-One as an old nigga. He might not even been 30 years old. He might have been like 27 or something when he made that album. But to see a 50-year-old with this level of production, we've never seen anything like that. And like you said, that changes the lens from what we expect from our veterans moving forward. If we got Kendrick here and J. Cole here, and these guys aren't even 40 years old, what do we expect from them at 50? Literally nothing.
Look here. I
No.
don't think people understand this. When KRS One, let's go to the next album. When he made "Rappers Are in Danger" and MCs Act Like They Don't Know off the KRS One album, Mike, we all thought he was super old then.
Exactly.
It was 1995. He had not even been around for a full decade.
Exactly. That's how different
It's
this is.
changed.
Yeah.
It's different.
Mr. J. Davis with the $20 super chat showing love. He said, "Happy birthday, Coop." He says, "When I met you outside of Madison Square Garden after the Nas show, I knew that the culture and hip hop media is in good hands. I appreciate you. Stay blessed." That's awesome, man.
Hey,
That's awesome. Shout out to you.
yeah.
Shout out to y'all. Because honestly, when it comes to what we're doing here, it's because of you guys and you guys' engagement and this dialogue that we're having and the super chats that change our subjects all the time. Like there's no other platform that engages the people like this. And that's important for you guys to be in here for the engagement. Mad Max with the super chat says, there isn't an album of the year. All these albums get dull after 2 weeks. A 2 week run of these albums has staying power. Nick Grant dropped a project. So did Mike Jenkins. Now I like the Nick Grant project, but I will say this: I heard a little bit of everybody in there. I heard Kendrick in there in moments. I heard Drake in there in moments, and I think from a technical aspect, he put together a really dope album, but I don't know if it has that edge for me that's going to give it album of the year consideration. That's just me.
I think there is something to be. Is that an artist thing or is that a time thing?
It could
Because
be a time
everything
thing.
is so microwave 2 to 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
Even like it's even like gotten faster since we started this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Straight
Like
up.
we started the podcast in 2020. It's three and some odd 3.5 years later, and it's like no, like we've watched it move faster. It's like that's the way the game kind of moves now too. It's part of the reason why we told ourselves we were going to only start reviewing albums that really were like dope enough to be like contenders
Yeah.
because it happened so fast.
Because the
You
people
know?
even get disengaged. You know what? I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think the Complex, how when they do their best rapper alive thing or whatever, they're going to give it to Killer Mike for this year. I kind of see that brewing, especially in that post that Killer Mike put out there, had all of the big names in the media giving a statement on his album. So I think that's going to go that way. But I think that the bold prediction I really want to make, this nigga Offset's album is about to be fire. Offset's album is about to be fire. From a mainstream perspective, we got two things going on right now, Coop. It feels like we got hip hop that's being made for the hip hop fans, and then we got hip hop that's being made for just the mainstream pedestrian music fan. You know what I'm saying? Like there used to be, and not to sound like an old nigga, there used to be an All Eyes on Me that gave you all of those things. Now it's kind of like you either get a Freddie Gibbs Soul Separately type of album where we all love, or you get like a Utopia album or something. You know what I mean?
We
And
have
I,
somebody in the see. This is what I mean. Okay, so Boggles in the chat, and he keeps talking about Black Thought and how we don't recognize Black Thought. No, we reviewed Black Thought's album this year, and
We did.
we gave it a 3.75 or a 4.
yeah, something like that.
And if I'm not mistaken, Cheat Codes was third for album of the year on our list last year, after
was.
KD3 and Soul Sold Separately.
Correct.
And Aquamarine was our song of the year.
Easily. And Aquamarine's first verse was the verse of the year.
And Aquamarine's first verse was our verse of the year.
Yep.
So I appreciate you pulling up in the chat and fighting for Black Thought, but you don't have to fight for Black Thought here. I've, on this show, said plenty of times, he's the walking standard for bars.
Yeah.
And we give him all his flowers on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So please stop running up in the chat.
We bring Black Thought up more.
Thought.
Yeah, we bring up Black Thought more than anybody does.
That's why I'm saying, like I appreciate all of y'all who pull up. Like, some of y'all need to realize it's like we talk about these dudes more than anybody else, for better or for worse. Quite frankly,
36 Chambers with the super chat says, one of the things that I think gets missed here is Run the Jewels. Killer Mike's fan base is more outside than y'all may think because of Run the Jewels is stadium and festival level performers. Killer Mike's music is big. I think the Run the Jewels thing gave him a different fan base than he's ever gotten as a solo artist. But I don't think that the Run the Jewels fan base is a Killer Mike solo artist fan base, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, this is the best example I can give you. I don't think that the CeeLo Gnarls Barkley fans are CeeLo solo artist fans.
Because they're not.
They're not. They're two different things. People who are listening to Gnarls Barkley probably have no idea what Goody Mob is.
They don't have a copy of Soul Food at all, Mike.
Exactly. They can't quote any of CeeLo's rhymes. Mad Max with the super chat says, hold on one second. Okay. All right. Mad Max with the super chat says, them stories weren't all that, Coop. Stop. Nas dead rambling on Magic 3 went from talking to a chick to some hood stuff. What was detailed? Man, the criticisms. It's interesting.
I mean, it's Mad Max, so.
Yeah. Critical Mass with the super chat says, I've come to realize that people like Ish, B. Dot, Leroy Green, and many in the chat are not hip-hop fans. They're fans of one or two artists. They shit on legends just to big up their favorites. It's goofy. Critical Mass with the opinion there. Let's see, we got another super chat here. There was another prediction I was gonna make too. James Smith with the super chat says, put your glasses up. Represent for Coop. Yes, put your glasses up. I don't have a glass right now. You know what? I ain't got no. It's early, but I'm gonna still put the glass up. Cheers to my man Coop. The legendary Coop's problematic. Yes, sir, man. Mad Max with the super chat here says, Academic was right on Cole and Dot. Cole thinks that he's slick. Academic says that he tells Yachty to drop a verse. Cole, I don't know what you're doing, bro. You dropping a verse just to say that you did some to stop cheating? You my mans. Guess he's saying that he just dropping random verses just to say he active without having to drop any material. Is that where you're at with it, Mad Max? $20 super chat for CJ Kidd showing love out here. He says, recently 5 albums celebrated their 25th anniversary. Yeah, we're going to get to that too. September 29th, Volume 2, Akumenai, Black Star, Love Movement, and Foundation. Foundation is from Brand Nubian. What are your thoughts on those 5 looking back, and why does No Limit Gang Green not get celebrated too? I think it's the timeless nature of them all and the timeless nature of the individuals who dropped. I don't think it's fair that No Limit gets skipped over in 98 like that because they dropped damn near like 30 albums. But I think a lot of that stuff was for the time, to be honest. It's an incredible feat, though.
Quick quality conversation because we are going to talk about that glorious date in time briefly. But quite frankly, No Limit didn't make a project that year that was better than at least 3 of those projects they dropped that day. So the quality had something to do with it even back then.
Yeah. And you know what? We don't even have to go there. 400 Degrees has aged better than all of those No Limit albums. It's a quality conversation there.
Well, it's better than all of those albums.
It is. Mad Max of the super chat says, I mean, when Nas was 40, he wasn't putting music out, Mike. So we can't expect nothing with people. So let's not go there. That's a stretch. What did Nas drop at 40? Because I feel like he was dropping stuff. Dot with the super chat says, Offset.
Life is good, Mike.
Yeah, I thought he was in his 40s and Life is good. Yeah, that's Life is good.
He was literally about 40, 41.
Yeah.
He literally starts off the intro, I'm pushing 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dot with the super chat says, Offset. Nah, I can't agree with that one. Watch and see, guys. I done heard 3 records.
I like your sleeper pick. I love me a sleeper pick, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta go with something out here because ain't nobody putting out shit. I will say this about Offset. He's trying to actually put out something big. And I could tell that he's putting effort into music that I don't see any of his other peers doing. Music now seems like more of a, I hate to say it like this, seems like more of a hustle. Where it's like, I got to put out something to extend my brand. This is about the brand, right? You putting out music so that your brand is relevant. But what I see from Offset is he actually cares about the music he's putting out and the presentation. And nobody else is doing that.
We're gonna see how it translates.
We'll see. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, back fellas, Cole has been dropping music 2018 through 2023. Album features, the Summer Walker joint. People acting like he's just been gone for the last 5 years.
No, it's not that. This is what I mean about how this run changed everything. It's not about that. It's about somebody who is 47 to 50 years old is literally making whole albums in the time that is taking people who are supposed to be in their prime. And we're not just singling out Cole and Kendrick. You know, he's literally writing whole albums in the time that it's taking you dudes to do 6 or 7 or 8 verses during the course of a 6 to 9 month period.
Can we say it like this, man? Because
And if you are recording songs and not releasing them or putting an album together, it's leading me to believe because Mike, you don't want to put me onto this with the Kendrick shit. It's like that's
good.
because the songs aren't there.
Not good.
And the fact that this man from 47 to 50, the fact that the songs are there is what I'm stressing. Mike, let's just go ahead and scratch it. Let's say he used to be a 10 as a storyteller and now he's an 8. At least he's performing at an 8 consistently.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Facts. And this is the other thing I want to say too, man. And we always want to talk about features and blah, blah, blah. You know what features really were in play in hip hop? Because it's not really in any other genre. Back in the day, when people started getting featured on other people's shit, it was because they had something coming. The record labels were clearing other people to get on other people's shit because this person has an album coming. This is an opportunity for the fans to hear this person and get them ready for this next album. Now niggas just do features as a cop-out because they ain't got shit going on. It's different. Mike. And you're not going to win that battle where it's like you're just going to sit here and do a bunch of features and we ain't getting no music. Nah, that's not good enough.
It's called a feature run because your ass is supposed to run those features into the next project.
Exactly.
That's why it's called a feature run.
Exactly.
It's not called a feature fun. And then you're just doing this shit for fun when you feel like it's called a feature run, not a feature fun.
Shout out to Derwin with the Cash App. And y'all can hit the Cash App $ according to hip hop. He says, happy born day to my fellow Nasirian. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. We got Mad Max in the super chat too because I know Mad Max wants to refute what I just said, I'm sure. He says, it's an artist thing. When Astro World came out, it owned the year. Even in 2020, Pop Posthumous album, talking about Pop Smoke, lasted the whole year. My Turn did as well. Talking about Lil Baby's album. 36 Chambers with the $20.
Those albums were good.
Yeah.
Those albums were actually good.
Talking about quality material here. 36 Chambers with the $20 super chat showing love says, Nas Barkley and Goody Mob is much further apart than Run the Jewels and the solo Killer Mike's fans. That's a bad take. Is it though? Mike raps the same way on Run the Jewels albums that he does on solo, and those fan bases overlap. His partner, LP, is huge. Shaking my head. Sonically, I don't think they do. Maybe that's me coming from Atlanta, Georgia, and understanding that nobody in this city, let me say it like this, from a hip-hop aesthetic, this city didn't really support Run the Jewels like that, right? Have you guys ever seen Killer Mike and LP get on the Breakfast Club for any of their promo runs? Does Hot 97 and these places who were talking to Killer Mike about his solo efforts, do they play Run the Jewels records? They don't sound the same. Sonically, they're different.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
They're not the same. Yes, he's rapping, but he's rapping over production.
I'm about to say,
that doesn't.
36 is right about this. The rapping is the same.
The rapping is the same, but the songs aren't. And the Sonics are
totally different.
Yeah. We got Dante Jedi with the super chat. He says, happy birthday, Coop. Appreciate everything you do for the culture, good brother. The way you spit classic lyrics at the drop of a dime is 100. We broke bread at the chicken spot before Nas's Madison Square Garden show. That's love right there. That's love.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
Mad Max with the super chat says, since when was Black Thought the standard for bars? Recite one. If you don't got quotables, you not all that. Thought is alright. He is not that guy. Go ahead and prove him wrong, Coop, on your
On
birthday.
these 73 keys of ivory and ebony, I swear solemnly that I forever rock steadily. People want to know where Malik. He's right next to me. The recipe, the deep shit recipe, hard to keep with. Yeah, Thought got shit for days, dude.
Yeah, he
Like
is the
pick a
standard.
song. How about this, Mad Max? You pick a Black Thought song, and I'll spit the verse to it for you.
Boom. CJ Kid with the super chat says, I ask about Gang Green because it came out on September 29th in 1998 as well, but they always mention the other 5 albums. I think it's a quality conversation and a legacy conversation too, because we're talking about Jay-Z, Tribe, Outkast, um, Brand Nubian,
It's name
and
brand
Black Star.
recognition at the time too.
Huh?
It's name brand recognition at the time too. It's
Yeah.
98.
You talking about Black Star and their only album that people actually have access to. This is Talib and Mos Def. So yeah, I think it's like Coop said, that and legacy. Sean with the super chat says, Nas said it best on Ugly. I see the envy getting closer through my optics. Stop hating on Nas, and the Chopper City in the ghetto is better than 400 Degrees. We got a Chopper City fan here. I ain't mad at that. Uncle Fram, I
It's really
disagree,
great,
but
but
I
it's
ain't.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not.
I disagree. Uncle Fram with the super chat says Feliz Cumpleaños, Coop.
Salute, Unc. Appreciate you.
Shout out to Unc out there. Shout out to the Mets. Better luck next year. Jay Short with the super chat says
The Mets.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Free said the Griselda is the New York version of No Limit. Other than that East Coast lyrical aesthetic, I actually see that as a valid comparison. The releases, collabos using a formula, love/hate quality. Hmm. DJ 253 with the super chat says Michael is forgettable. Media people bump it. The B Dots, the Charlemagne the Gods, the Hot 97s, etc. Larry June and Alchemist, Mick Jenkins, Lucky, Nas put out better projects. That's interesting, man. When you talk about the media people and how you could tell that they gravitate to certain projects, right? That's another thing that's changed in hip hop. We used to gravitate to what the media people, quote unquote, would gravitate to. Now people get to speak their own truth and tell you, like, no, that's not album of the year.
It's
The
not.
people are writing the history now, and I love it. Leroy Green with the super chat says, if it's really about detailed stories, he's still on this story too. If it's really
Let's go.
about detailed stories and pen work, I think folks should revisit Thought's album since some of y'all think I don't know hip hop. Thanks.
Okay, let's address this. First of all of you, like, Nas's storytelling isn't the part of the game that you guys should be trying to use to win an argument. So inherently, everybody's argument's stupid. All right, like let's just put that on the table. He's the greatest storyteller of all time, and y'all trying to like poke holes in his storytelling is some of the most laughable shit in the time that we've been doing this
That's like trying to
podcast.
poke holes in Steph Curry's 3-point shot or something.
Right. Like, what the fuck are we doing? It's like saying Akeem Olajuwon has bad footwork. Like, it's like, no, he doesn't. You just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But let's go ahead and entertain what Leroy said to the Black Thought point. And I've said this, and I even said this about Magic 3. It's not that just the stories are detailed. It's like, no, it's pretty entertaining. And our problem with the Black Thought album, although you could say it is comparable, detail-oriented writing, it's not as entertaining.
I think it's the connectivity as well, which piggybacks on the entertainment value of it.
And because Black Thought stories tend to have a more avant-garde, bourgeoisie feel to them.
James Smith with the super chat says Black Thought left.
Nas be talking about reformed dope boys and chicks he used to, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
no, that's something that dudes from, relate to a little bit easier and quicker.
Right.
I told you, I like the setup, Mike. It's like, no, he puts you there real quick. It's some street shit. My mindset, son got wet. I'm vexed, really. Snatched off his Rolex, smacked this bitch silly. My niggas acting ill, word to Willie, about to feel it. We should have been dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that connects.
Yeah. James
Just
Smith
connects
with
like
the
a
super
motherfucker.
right. James Smith with the super chat says Black Thought left Earth on education with Freddie.
He
He
did.
always leaves Earth.
That's why he's the walking standard for bars. That's why I'm saying when Mad
Yeah,
Max is saying like when is he the walking standard of bar? It's like pick a bar. Go listen to Aquamarine, Mad Max.
facts. CJ Kid with the super chat says Coop on the I Am Wikipedia page. There is a 98 leaked track list on the album. Wow, that's crazy. That's recent. They didn't do that years ago. Says could look at the list and see if it resembles that first version that you talk about. He wants you to see how valid the Wikipedia list is. Um,
That's wild. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't do shit like this anymore. Even when I talked about I Am Mike, that's from memory.
yeah.
Like I
Marquez
haven't heard.
Davis. Go ahead.
Yeah. No,
Marquez
no, go ahead.
Davis with the super chat says, I just find it funny that people get all worked up about someone not rapping, but just don't think Cole needs to be in the convo. He got music the last several years, and then people call him boring. I mean, he does, and he's been consistent. I think that from a fan's perspective, and no matter where it's coming from, I guess it comes across the same way. We're trying to push the guys who are in the primes of their careers to make great music because that helps hip hop as a whole. The fact that people are okay with allowing folks that are in the primes of their careers not push the culture forward musically, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we come from an era where if you took 2 or 3 years off, nigga, you done fell off. And we're talking about album releases. I ain't talking about hearing you on a feature here and there. Because at this point, if I hear you on a feature here and there and ain't no album coming, I'm thinking you're done. At least that's where it used to be. Web Visibility with the super chat says, if you want bars from Black Thought, just listen to the Hot 97 freestyle, probably the greatest freestyle of all time. Dot with the super chat says, why does Nas continuously get disrespected? People
This
are
is not the
trained to do
same.
so.
This is not the same track listing.
It's not? Okay.
No, it does have. It does have some of the same stuff, but not all the way.
Okay.
Yeah, like Small World is track 4. Money is My Bitch is further back on the original version. Papa Was a Player is track 6 on the original version, not track 5. Project Window was track 3 on here. Fetus is where it was. So it's some of the same songs, but not everything. It's got Blazer 50 and Wanna Play on here in the right spot. It did go Drunk by Myself, Wanna Play, and Blazer 50 on the version that I had. So some of it, but not all of it.
Mm.
But that's even cool that it's,
T Nitty with the super chat says,
even up on the
teach
wiki.
him, Coop, and happy birthday. Of course. Let's see what else we got. Esquire with the super chat says, the part of Nas' storytelling that doesn't get highlighted enough is his intricacy of rhyme schemes while telling a detailed story. Unparalleled.